pleased to say that everything started coming together this week. All the things that have been building up to over the last 2-3 weeks and things we've been talking about all gelled together. So it's been a fantastic week. Shall we talk about it? Hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff and welcome to this week's Table Talk. So if you're a new subscriber, a massive welcome to the channel. Thank you very much for subscribing. And to all of you that have been subscribed for some time, a massive welcome also. Always good to see you on the channel. So if you've not been and done a Table Talk video before, very briefly, what we do is we talk about what happened last week, what's been happening on the model bench, what's coming up next week, some longer term plans, anything that's sort of affecting me and therefore the channel, all sorts of stuff really. And you never really know from one week to the next what's going to be in there. But we do have some set themes and those are the things I've just highlighted. So yeah, lots going on as always, but this week things started to come together on so many different fronts. But before we start talking about all of that, let's talk about the special people in the hobby. So this hobby is full of really nice, generous people, people that want to help, people that want to get involved, people that really are passionate about the hobby and more than willing to help other people out. And on Sunday last week, I put out my first formal B17 update and said, look, this is the place for you all to chat and talk about what's going on and talk about your builds and ask questions. And you did that, and it was brilliant. And there were one or two people who are really enthusiastic and getting stuck in and helping people out and coming up with suggestions for bits and people. People just sharing where they're up to. A lot of people are sort of about to start, came across quite strongly. So yeah, it was a real joy over the first few days after Sunday seeing all those people get involved. And there is so many people involved in my group build. I'm absolutely blown away. So thank you, each and every one of you. So let's talk about special people in general. This channel is self-funding, which means that the things that we build, the things that we review, the things that we buy for the first impressions and stuff, it's all paid for by the revenue that the channel makes. And you contribute to that by hitting the like button, by making comments, by sharing the videos on Facebook or Scalemates or wherever. But also you can go a little bit further if you wish to, and all of my videos are free for absolutely everyone to enjoy. But there is a small number of people who like to donate a little bit of extra to the channel as a thank you for what they get out of it, I guess. But I don't do membership and I don't do buy me a coffee or Patreon or anything like that. So if you want to support the channel, best way to do it is to go to the PayPal link that'll be underneath this video and put some money into there, because 100% of that goes to the channel. If you do super thanks or super chat, if that's your preferred method, that's okay. But I'll only see around about 60 of that come to the channel. YouTube takes about 40%. Okay, with that in mind, there were some special people that wanted to donate last week. So as always, if you donate a little bit of something to the channel, then I will give you a shout out in Table Talk. So let's do that. So Michael Drongas, Lee Fennell, Plastic Monkey, Paul, all donated last week, and I'm very grateful for all the donations. Some of you give fairly regularly a very small amount, and it's massively appreciated. It goes actually quite a long way to helping me make decisions and things with what I can do with the budget. And simple things like in the B17 build, I'm going to try a different paint system for getting my metallic finishes, and that gets paid for by the revenue from the channel. Now, I'm also plugging some other revenue into the channel at the moment as well, which is I'm selling off some of my stash to feed that into the channel as well. I've got about another 20 kits to put onto eBay, and I've had a few going on that have been going around in circles for a little while, but every now and then someone will bid on one and it drops off, and I managed to sell one of my wooden kits this week, so I got less for it than I really wanted, but I got more for it than I actually paid for it, so a win-win. The trouble is, you sell something on eBay, and then eBay takes their cut, and then you put the postage and the shipping on, and before you know it, you're got 2/3 of what you were thinking you were going to get. But it's better than being in my attic, and it's better to be in the channel so that we can get ultimately a better camera at some point, and keep the first impressions fed. That's probably the most important thing, making sure I've got a flow of new kits coming in that we can do first impressions of. Anyway, with all that put to one side, the channel's looking okay for now. We've got a few kits stacked up ready to film for first impressions, so I'm a bit ahead of myself, so that's all good. So what did we get up to last week? Well, let's start with the channel's videos. Sorry, my computer's going to sleep. There you go. On Monday, we did the zebra sanders from Infini. So if you've not got them and you need some wide sanding sticks, these things here, go and have a look at the video if you missed it. We talk all about those, how they complement the soft sanders that we've done before. So we've still got 2 of the out of the 5 Infini sanding types to do. So one of the things I'll be doing this week is filming the next one, which probably be the sponges, I think. And then I've got the photo etch ones to do as well. So yeah, a lot of people agreeing with what I was saying, that they've tried them and they're now their go-to brand. 1 or 2 people still prefer to use sandpaper, and I totally get that. And the reason that, and I actually still use sandpaper. I've been using a lot of sandpaper on Shan Horse, but the reason why I use these is it's sort of convenience. And I've used emery boards since I was a kid, so I'm in that habit of doing that. And they were actually cheaper than sandpaper because you have to sort of buy it in a bulk, at least a sheet or a roll or something like that. So it's just a habit that formed, I think. But you can, yeah, I just like using them. And like most people, I've found that a lot of them are a bit rubbish and don't last very long, whereas the Infini ones seem to do the job right, which is nice. So yeah, there was a lot of talk, at least, around those on Monday. And then on Wednesday, we did the brand new tool Dora Wings Fairy Delta 2, which I waxed lyrical about last week on Table Talk. And there's been a real interest in that. I mean, it's only a small kit, but it's nicely presented. I couldn't think of anything to criticise other than the fact that the kit got a little bit scuffed and bits, and the presentation's perhaps not quite there of the packaging and stuff. But Dora Wings, they're in Ukraine. It's not a great place to be. Certainly not an easy place to be manufacturing right now. And I work with people who work at a manufacturing facility in Kyiv, and they've had issues with blackouts, with being bombed and all that sort of stuff. So you've got to say, all credit to companies like Dora Wings. They're doing an amazing job to still be putting kits out in the first instance, but new tools as well, and sort of keeping business as usual. My goodness, it's quite a feat, really. So hats off to them. And it just happened to be a lovely kit of an amazing subject. So again, if you didn't see it, go and see it. It's not a long first impressions videos. It's not one of my epics, but yeah, it's a really nice kit. And then on Friday, it was Scharnhorst Part 6, which focused, I think, on the folk soul. I can't remember because I loaded it up a couple of weeks ago now, and I'm recording this before it's gone out. So you'll have seen it by the time you see this. You'll have seen it, hopefully. If not, go and watch it. I do quite a bit of scratch building in that one, if I'm remembering which one it is correctly. I think I am. We'll talk more about Shan Horse later on, because that was my one of my focuses this weekend. So yeah, that's sort of what happened last week in terms of on the channel. On the modelling bench, one of the plans was to get the little Matchbox kit finished so I could jump onto the B17 and get rolling on that, because I know there's a lot of people just starting out. There's a number of people clearly wanting to see how I tackle it as a lead into how they might be tackling it, which is, you know, always very flattering. So I've had to think about it as I've started filming. I've had to, where's that gone? Just noticed on camera, mate. Oh, there it is. It's tucked in. Just looked odd. I've had to be quite mindful as I've started filming. Right, there's a lot of people here who are fairly novice at this, clearly from the comments I've been getting. So I'm trying to do it in a basic way, but not drag it out into, you know, a whole video on how to clean your parts up and that sort of stuff. So it's a very much a build video. I show you how to do it once, and then unless I do it a different way, I won't show you how to do that again, if that makes sense. So, you know, that sort of stuff. But yes, we did finish our Matchbox kit, and here she is, and she looks absolutely awesome for something that's almost as old as me. It's not looking too shabby, is it? It's aged really quite well. Came up well. You know, it's got the challenges that you expect from a kit from the mid-70s. You know, there is some fit issues, there is some cleanup issues, there is soft moulding, there is lack of detail, there's rubber tracks on it, and all that sort of stuff. But my goodness, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, we've done that, and that's now done and dusted for me. I know you've not seen any of it yet. I'm not sure whether it's going to be 1 or 2 videos, but there ain't going to be much to it, in fairness. So we will see how that goes. I edited up the Bowfighter video, and I've got another one to do. So you've got Bowfighter next week. Then you should have another Scharnhorst, maybe. Talk about that in a minute or two as well. Then another Bowfighter. Then Scharnhorst, maybe. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then that. So you're a few weeks off. It's going to be some point in March before you actually see that as a build video. But yeah. So I know that the people that are following the Scharnhorst build are going, what do you mean? Maybe. So let's not panic here. I have committed to doing a live stream on the B17, and I'm basically kicking the B17 off as of next weekend as a proper concentrating on it. I've done bits and pieces and grabbed moments in time, but I've not really got stuck in earnest. So I have a small amount of material for a video. But the reality is, talk more about it in the update on Sunday, but the reality is with Scharnhorst is I'm at the point where we're doing a lot of sanding, and that's going to take me a couple of weeks to do, and the amount of video I get out of it is that. So there's a possibility that I might not have enough material for one of the Scharnhorst videos, and so I'm going to put in the B17 live stream instead of one of those Scharnhorst videos if needed. If not, if I manage to get it done and keep the flow going so I've got enough material, then we'll do the live stream possibly on a Sunday or something like that. but I will do it. I said we'd kick off with a live stream. That's what we're going to do. So yeah, I'm a little bit unsure, but yeah. Before we talk about what I'm going to save what we happened on the modelling bench, although you sort of know some of it, and until a bit later on, because I want to talk about other things that have happened this week, which are all here. So let's do that. So first thing to talk about is the B17 build. So I'm now, because that's finished, that's now my other build other than the Shan Horse. So I've got 3 builds going on currently. I've got the Shan Horse as my main build, I've got the Endeavour as my wood build, and I've got my B17 now as my secondary build. So it's 1 week on Shan Horse, every week on Endeavour, and 1 week on B17. And when I say every week on Endeavour, it's Saturday morning. I have a limited amount of time on a Saturday morning. Just a couple of hours, and that's all I get to spend on the wood kit. But that's enough for Endeavour. So yeah, we'll see how that progresses. But so far, I'm quite far ahead. I think I'm still 3 videos ahead of what I've loaded up. Not even what you've seen. So probably 5 videos ahead on what you've seen, because I'm doing a video every week on Endeavour, and you're getting one every other week. So eventually I get ahead, although the last 2 weekends I've done nothing on Endeavour because I focused on getting that finished. But I had wriggle room to do that, so that's all okay. So yeah, so B17, I needed to make sure that everything came together. Now, ages ago, I ordered some stuff from MIG. My paint system that I want to play with for doing the exterior colours and well, for the metal finish, I should say. And I ordered this stuff, and it didn't seem to happen. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I went back to him and said, "Is there a problem with my order?" And I didn't get a reply. So I then went and did what I should have done in the first place and checked my trash emails, and sure enough, they had replied twice. And when I put the original order in, one of the items had gone out of stock after I'd ordered it directly off their website. So we agreed an alternative, and they shipped it, and that arrived this week. And I got a new sticker with the new logo on. Let me just drop that, and you can see, there you go, the new logo. They have moved away from shell cases to this sort of arrowy, rockety type thing. I'm not quite sure, but probably it's a bit less sensitive given everything that's going on in the world. So yeah, so I have a new logo sticker, and you know, you get all sorts of flyers in there. No freebies this time. Sometimes they'll chuck one in as a trial. So I've had a streaking brusher before now as a freebie. But this box has in my new paint system. Well, it's not new. I've used it before, but only as a gloss. And what we've got in here is the A-stand stuff. So I got white primer. I got gloss black primer. Black primer with micro filler. I think it has micro filler. Yeah, black primer with micro filler, so that'll be matte. And then I've got a gloss one as well. And then for the top coat, for the metal finish, I've got High Shine Plus aluminium. So they do another aluminium, but they're out of stock of that pretty much everywhere. Don't know why. Then I got some more gloss, and I got some airbrush cleaner, which I thought would be helpful. Got a couple of bottles of that. So yeah, that's where I'm going. For the yellow tail, again, I'll talk more about this on the update on Saturday. For the yellow tail, I've ended up going with a Tamiya lacquer, which absolutely wouldn't be my first port of call, but I didn't have a yellow enamel in that was the colour that I really wanted. So I decided to go with a lacquer, and keep it in line with what we're doing with the A-stand. So a bit whiffier than I usually go with, but we will see. Some of that stuff I bought actually for Scharnhorst as well. So the primers, the white primer will be really handy for my Scharnhorst because I'm going to need to prime in white above the boot line at least. And then I'll probably revert to my normal grey for everything else, and go back to my usual Steinol solution for everything else. But for the upper works of the hull, the upper part of the hull, I should say, because I've got to put white down, I want to put white down as my primer. And it gives me an opportunity to run some stuff through the airbrush stuff that we talked about last week, which we'll come back to in a moment. Also for the B17, and it's also MIG, but I didn't buy this directly from MIG. I was having a look around and this seemed like the best solution. I bought the Metallic Aeroplanes and Jets Air Weathering Set. So this gives you 3 bottles of panel liner with different shades in. So we can have a mess around with that and get some different effects. Now, at least 2 people have asked me about adding rivet to it. I'm not going to add rivets. I've got all the equipment to do so. I've got rivet tools and I could show you how to do it using the riveting tapes and bits and pieces. But at that scale, you ain't going to see the rivets. And when you look at the pictures of the aircraft, you cannot see the rivets. You can definitely see the panel lines, but you can't really see the rivets. So I've decided not to add rivets on mine. But again, we can talk about that on Sunday. But yeah, that came. So that finishes, I think, everything that I need now to get that built. I just need to check that I'm happy. I've got an interior green that suits my needs because it's quite a dark green that I need. I don't have the Airfix colour that the Humbrol colour, sorry, that Airfix pick out. So it's like a bronze green, and I have a bronze green in the ICM, so we might go that route. But we will see. Not everything is decided yet as far as the B17 is concerned. But we'll talk about that on Sunday. So tomorrow there will be an update from me, where I'm up to with my build. I'll answer some of the questions that were asked in the chat last week, and yeah, should be a lot of fun. Now then, let's talk about these new airbrushes. So you'll remember last week that I talked about I've reached out to an airbrush company in the US, and this company, they're called Gallery. They've been causing 1 or 2 ripples in the modelling world with their airbrushes. And the reason is they appear to have very capable airbrushes at prices that really knock about the main competition. So the Iwatas and the H&S and what have you, they're expensive airbrushes. Now, I said that I wanted to do a sort of a introduction to airbrushing, get you from I've never used an airbrush to I feel competent with an airbrush, do a season of those. And that's tied in with these. So these have been given to me. So I reached out to them, said, look, I'm interested in your products. Got a channel. Are you interested in giving me one to review? Well, they've given me 2. So we have the Gallery Advanced series, which is their entry level. So that's 1 airbrush, 2 needles. And the Mobius, which is their state-of-the-art, top-of-the-range one. Got some nice innovation on it. So they've given me those. So I'm going to be reviewing those, doing a tool review of those in their own right. And then I'm going to be using them on some of the builds, and I'm going to be having a bit of a mess around with them, having a play, understanding how they work, and giving you my feedback. And my airbrush series is going to focus on using these. So we'll start with this one, the entry-level one, and then we'll get up to the Mobius one, and then I'll talk about the pros and cons of all of these airbrushes compared to other airbrushes I've owned previously, including some cheap and nasty ones, and airbrushes that I've had that I've still got and still use today. So yeah, I've not had a look at them. I've peeked inside the boxes, but other than that, I've not really had a chance to have a play with them as yet. So we'll be doing all that, filming all that, and you'll start seeing those come out in a few weeks' time. Now, I've also agreed with them a link. So when I'm talking about these, I'll post my own link for you to go through, which will ensure that you get any discounts and offers. So they may from time to time offer people who subscribe to my channel an offer or something like that. That's sort of what they've said. But also it'll ensure that when you get onto their website, you're the most recent offers available are all there. So I'll be sharing a link that'll let you do that. So they've agreed that I can say what I like. So if I think these are rubbish, I will review them and say, oh, actually, they're rubbish, and it's better to spend much more money, actually, on this brush. I will say that if that's the case. And if they're great, I'm going to say they're great. And if they're somewhere in the middle, that's what I'll say. It's going to be like, if you watch my first impressions videos, it'll be like that. There'll be some stuff I like, inevitably, and some stuff I don't like, inevitably. And I'll talk through all of that. What we have to be mindful of is that's entry level and that's serious player. Yeah, so you're getting two different experiences. So I have to just keep that in mind as I film them. So yeah, we'll be doing a couple of reviews, and then I'll be pulling together as I start painting the Scharnhorst and start painting the B17. We'll start pulling together these videos on how to use an airbrush, buying your first airbrush, all of that sort of stuff. The biggest thing that I think most people get wrong about buying an airbrush is they really worry about what airbrush to get. And that's the wrong thing to do, because actually, fundamentally, the biggest issue with airbrushing is not your airbrush, it's your compressor. And getting your compressor right is actually more important than your airbrush. We'll talk all about that. So yeah, lots coming in terms of tool reviews and airbrush stuff, and I'm quite looking forward to doing it and giving some people who've never tried an airbrush some thoughts on how I go about dipping their toe in there. So yeah, right then, I'm going to clear this off my desk and we'll plump Scharnhorst down and we can talk about what I did on the modelling bench this week. So the weekend that's just gone was all focused on Scharnhorst for me, and I'm pleased to say she's 1/3 of the way done in terms of sanding the hull. Yeah, my weekend was from my hand to the bow, both sides, I'm pleased to say. So it was fill, sand, and get it absolutely perfect. So I'm happy that everything up to there is perfect. When I put primer down, I'm not going to see any issues, hopefully. But yeah, that's where I am. So my next stage is to do that sort of section there, and then we'll do the front end onwards. When I've finished that bit, I'm ready for detailing the hull. So far we've done major works, if you like. We've done cutting and shaping and changing and that sort of stuff. Then we've done filling and scraping and sanding and getting it all to look perfect and feathered in and all like it should be there, and was always there, is what we've done. And then the next stage after that is to put the fine details on. So the weld seams, the rivets, the missing sacrificial anodes, get the deck flush with the sides of the hull, and put on the hand irons and the boom mounting points and the eye bolts for lifting the propellers on in situ. Get all of that on, and then we're ready for priming. So I think next time I come to do this, I should finish the sanding and filling, because the centre section's relatively quick. I had quite a bit of work to do on here. There is slide moulding seams which were huge, great big steps in the plastic. Took a lot of effort with my sanding paper and sanding block, getting that out and making sure it's smooth. You can see, possibly, if I switch the light off, you might just see better. You can see the witness of everything has been sanded. Even these bits that are still white have been given a sort of a gentle sand just to make sure I've got no imperfections, hairs and dust and things that might have been under the primer when we first gave it a rough prime out in the garden last summer, actually. So yeah, we're looking good on here. It's going to plan, and I'm still really motivated on this, because it's when you do this bit that you can see it starting to come perfect. When you look at it and it's covered in filler and it's all a bit rough and you think, oh, I've got loads to do. But like I keep saying, you just have to break it down into sections, focus on that little bit, get it perfect. You get a sense of achievement and it spurs you on for the next bit. So I'm really happy with how Shan Horse is going. She's looking really good. Quite a bit of work to do at the bow because we've got the hose pipes to sort out. So I might be unlucky and it might take more than a week. And that's why I'm saying we might have to miss a video, but we will see. We will see how it all comes together. But yeah, and then that means I can get one of those new airbrushes out, which one of them has a 0.5 needle, and we can give it a blast. I've not used a 0.5 needle in donkey's years. So yeah, that'd be good. And that was one of the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to see how their larger needle works in their entry-level airbrush. So yeah, happy that that's all going to plan. And like I say, we'll be using a combination of different primers to get different effects on here. So yeah, Scharnhorst, I worked on it all day pretty much on the Sunday, and so that is pretty much a full day's work, that 1/3 of the hull. And then I didn't manage to get any done in the week, unfortunately. So yeah, that's where we're up to with that. And as you know, I finished the old Matchbox kit as well. So we're done. So those are things that I was aiming to get done, because it's spurring me on with the Scharnhorst to get this to detailing. That's what I really want to start doing. Can't wait to start detailing the hull. And so I need to get through this bit. With the Matchbox kit, couldn't wait to get that finished because I can't wait to start the B17. So that was the plan. We managed to pull that off and not affect anything for Endeavour. So double bonus there. We're all good. So yeah, very, very happy that all of those things came together. The airbrushes came so I could start my airbrush videos. So that was really nice as well. So yeah, like I say, it all started coming together. So really happy. But that does lead me on to what's going to happen this weekend. And I've said it's B17 weekend, but it's also my daughter's birthday. So you will have seen earlier today that my daughter's birthday video went up. I thought, you know, she's 18, it's time I embarrassed her, because I don't think I've ever embarrassed her before. Well, yeah, maybe. But yeah, she's 18, and yeah, bit of an occasion. So I thought I'd put a video up because some of you know her to talk to, have actually met her. So you've all got an opportunity to say happy birthday if you want to. So yeah, and that means today I'm quite busy doing birthday stuff. And then tomorrow, Sunday, I'm also busy doing birthday stuff. We've got a meal with family and that sort of stuff. And my granddaughter's coming round. And, you know, I am not sure that I will get any modelling done at all this weekend. But if I do, it will be on the B17. We will see. We will see. Okay. that's where I got to on the modelling bench. Let's talk about what's coming up next week. So on Monday, we've got a video coming out that was actually requested, and I did one a little while ago about knives. I can't remember what the focus of it was. Well, I was then asked if I could do, I think it was about sharpening knife blades. I think it was that one. And someone asked if I could explain the different knife blades. So yeah, okay, I can do that, no problem. I know what they are pretty much. So it's based on the X-Acto range of knife blades, but there's a video there explaining what the different knife blades are, what they're for, what you do with them, and so on. Then on Tuesday, we've got Endeavour Part 8 coming out, which if you've been following that, you won't want to miss. We move on to some more fun bits and pieces of the build. Wednesday is the Tram big set that we moved back because of the Delta 2. So that will be on the Wednesday. So that's quite a big first impressions because you've got 5 kits or something like that in one box to build this diorama. So yeah, lovely set actually. So if you've always fancied doing one of those mini art trams, it's definitely worth catching that video. And then on Saturday, you'll have the next Beaufort video, and then Sunday we'll have another update on the B17 and where I have or possibly haven't got up to. So yeah, lots coming up. Action-packed week. I think you've only got one day off next week from me. I don't know how I manage to do it sometimes. I really don't. But yeah, it's an action-packed week next week and some interesting stuff coming along, particularly if you're following Endeavour, because we're moving away from hull stuff to fittings and what have you. So that gets a little bit more interesting and the video times come a bit shorter. The first impressions is something completely different from aeroplanes, which we do quite a lot of one way or another. And then Beaufort, we're focusing on camouflage painting and that sort of stuff. So, and I think we just start putting the decals on at the end of the video, if memory serves. So yeah, quite a bit there coming up. I've already edited the next Scharnhorst video, so that's already in the bag, and I've just got to upload it, which I'll do later today. So I'm about 3 weeks ahead on my videos, so it's all looking good in terms of keeping ahead of myself so that I'm not stressed and under pressure, because that's no good for my hernia, and I'm in a good place. And I'm losing weight. This is getting a bit loose, this. I might have to see if we can shrink this in the wash, which has been happening for years and now suddenly seems to have stopped. Anyway, yeah, the Zoe plan is going really, really well. Still learning loads. But yeah, I've sort of nailed breakfast, nearly nailed lunch. Tea, that can be a bit hit and miss, because I've got to make something for some members of the family and something different or a variation of it for me. And then depending on what we're doing, I might have to do something different for the kids as well. So there's, yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, I think that might be it for this week. Let me switch the camera off and just rattle my brain, make sure I've not missed anything. I think the only thing I've got left to say is to a certain gentleman that left a remark on one of my videos this week to say that all I did was film kits that I don't build, film tools that I never use, and never complete a build. So to that gentleman, I'd like to show you this, which is my second completed build of this year, both of which were built using the tools that I've talked about on the channel, and both kits were first impressioned. So there you go. Have a great week. You enjoy your modelling. I will see you tomorrow on the B17 group build. Until then, have a great time. Bye for now.